Welcome to Tech Bites with Dan Hafner, your gateway to the future of innovation and technology. Dive into the exciting world of software where cutting-edge tech meets creativity. Explore no-code solutions that empower businesses to thrive without traditional barriers. Hear inspiring stories from tech pioneers and industry leaders who are changing the game. Join us on Tech Bites and transform the way you think about technology and business.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the show. My name is Dan Hafner. Very, very exciting show for you guys today. This is another edition of Today in Tech. There has been some really, really massive investments into AI, really from the government side. But then ChatGPT actually launched a really, really cool AI agent tool that I think a lot of you are going to be very, very interested in. I'm interested in learning more about this. Very exciting times in this technology world and in this business world that we live in today as small businesses, entrepreneurs. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So again, welcome back to the show. My name is Dan Hafner. This is the Tech Bites podcast, and this is a Today in Tech segment. It is very nice to join you guys. It's Friday here today. We're getting to be the end, kind of the middle of summer. It's middle of July here in 2025. And I'm really, really excited to bring these stories to you. It's going to be really fun. So before we dive into that, as always, I am the founder of Dapper No Code, a no code, software and app development, small firm. It's just kind of me and a few other outsourced people. But we'll build any kind of custom code or custom software, custom mobile apps, any kind of no code automation tools that you might need for your business. It's a exploding world out there. There's actually a story that we're going to talk about today using a tool called Lovable that just closed a massive Series A funding. We're going to cover that story, don't worry, but we can use tools like that. So we're tool agnostic. We do all kinds of cool things. The official sponsor of this show, because it is my company, obviously, and my show, I can do what I want. So check us out at dappernocode.com. Have all kinds of cool stuff. I'll put the thing up here for you guys. So dappernocode.com. And as always, if you find value out of this show, please share it, subscribe, whether you're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever. Really, really appreciate you guys doing that as well. Okay, so let's dive in. The first story today, very interesting. So if you guys don't know, I think I've said this on the show before, but I am in Pennsylvania, right? Whoops, I don't want a script. I want to share my screen. There we go. So I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and there was a really, really crazy story about this Pennsylvania Energy Summit, which announces $90 billion of investments in AI energy and new jobs. It's wild. Okay, so let's pull this story up and we'll share this here. Okay, there we go. Share. Okay, so Pennsylvania Energy Summit. Whoa, I'm sharing twice. Okay, let's make sure I'm sharing the right stuff. There we go. Okay. Pennsylvania Energy Summit announces $90 billion investments, 15,000 new jobs. The inaugural Pennsylvania Energy and Innovation Summit in Pittsburgh, shout out to Pittsburgh, showcased significant investments totaling over $90 billion in data centers, energy infrastructure, and AI-related workforce development across Pennsylvania. Key projects include a $15 billion retrofit of Homer City power plant to natural gas, First Energy's $15 billion power grid upgrades, and Westinghouse's plan to build 10 large nuclear reactors nationwide starting in 2030, creating thousands of manufacturing, engineering, and construction jobs in Pennsylvania. Major companies such as Blackstone, not so sure about that, Capital Power, Constellation Energy, CoreWeave, and Energy Capital Partners announced multi-billion dollar investments to expand energy facilities and data centers, which are expected to generate thousands of construction and permanent jobs. Really, really awesome. That's kind of getting to be a little bit of a long story there. But I got to say, this is just my thoughts on this. I say a lifelong Pennsylvanian, but I am, I lived in Virginia for a while, and West Virginia for a while as we followed my wife kind of around this medical journey she's been on. But we've come back to Pennsylvania. We've lived here in Pittsburgh now for a couple of years. We lived in Harrisburg for a few years. We actually lived right across from 3 Mile Island. My wife and I, our old house, it was like literally right there. Like you could see it from our kitchen window, and it was never active while it was there. I think it's been bought by Microsoft now, or like they're paying to upgrade it into different things like that. But as a Pennsylvanian, as someone I was born and raised in Erie, Pennsylvania, I am freaking pumped about this. This is so incredible to see. I mean, Pennsylvania, like even like we're in Pittsburgh. It's called the Steel City, right? It's really turning into a big technological hub in the United States. There's a lot of tech firms here. Duolingo is actually based here. It's a very, very interesting dynamic because it used to be manufacturing based. It used to be steel based. It used to be all these different types of jobs. And now if you go kind of drive around through, I'm in mostly Western PA, even Central PA. There's so many just old, rundown, outdated, and like probably vacant industrial plants. It's probably similar in Ohio. There's just a lot of there's so much infrastructure there that's just been kind of moved on and forgotten about as the world has changed. And I just got to say, I am so freaking pumped that like it makes so much sense that they're going to take a lot of these, these old industrial plants, these different things, and repurpose them for what's relevant now today, which is technology and AI and all this energy stuff. I mean, shit, guys, like this is one of the most, I saw this the other day and I was like, holy shit, this has to be the top story today because, man, I'm so pumped that there's this kind of investment and there's this kind of energy now, like into this energy stuff, right? But now, like Pennsylvania, like, I don't know what else to say other than like it's so exciting, and I wanted to talk about this here because there's so many. If you guys are in any of those fields, if there's any way that you can support, I'm sure there's going to be lots of contracts. I mean, almost $100 billion. I think ever since then, they've said that I think President Trump did come out and say that there was over $100 billion now that was going to be invested into there. So it was at 90 at the time of this story. And it's been even more now. I mean, $100 billion. That's a lot of money, guys. Excuse me. That is a lot of money. So, I'm sure there's going to be tons of contracts that are put out. I'm sure there's going to be tons of ways that you can support this or get involved in this, get your slice of the pie. If you're, any kind of company that offers contracts or can work with government, we have some of these of this stuff. I'm already looking for this. Is there any kind of software projects we can get involved in and different things like that? Man, it's so cool. It's just so exciting to see something like this in a world that seems to have forgotten about, like not forgotten, but just been slow to adapt and slow to kind of, pay attention to some forgotten areas and some different things that are going on. So I'm over the moon as a Pennsylvanian. I hope that this comes to more states. I hope that this is something that's not just local to Pennsylvania. And if you guys aren't in Pennsylvania and you don't care about this story, then don't worry. We're going to talk about other stuff. But I just really wanted to give this story some attention because it's so exciting and it's very interesting. There's another show I was listening to that talked about, and this is completely off tangent, but there's another thing that's like, there's a lot of malls, like strip malls, and how are those going to be repurposed? I wonder if there'd be any kind of way that you could, kind of tie all this into that. But I digress. I'm very interested. I think there's a massive opportunity there for someone with the right approach, the right offers, the right businesses to get some of that money, to get some of that contracted money, to be able to contribute to that for the state of Pennsylvania, for the country of the United States, and the future of our country. So just really, really, really exciting stuff. Really exciting stuff. Okay, so that's that story. There was another one. Actually, you know what? I'm going to share this as well because this is just kind of along those lines. So there is, I'm going to get to the OpenAI stuff here in a minute, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about this story. So there is a newsletter I'm subscribed to, and it's called the Superhuman AI newsletter. Okay, it's basically just all these different things around, you guessed it, AI and whatever. So basically, there is this story that they came out with that said the Pentagon just handed out 800 million to AI companies. Okay, we're not talking about 100 billion, but 800 million is still quite a bit of money. So let me just read this here. It's in my email, so I don't really want to share my email, but the Pentagon just handed out 800 million to AI companies. Your tax dollars are about to fund something that sounds like science fiction. The Defense Department just wrote checks for 200 million each to 4 AI companies, right? $200 million each. Anthropic, OpenAI, Google, and Elon Musk's xAI. That's $800 million total. And here's the kicker. They want these companies to build AI that can make military decisions on its own. No human required. The Pentagon isn't being subtle about this. They want agentic AI workflows, fancy talk for AI that can plan and execute tasks without someone holding its hand. Think about that for a second. AI that can analyze a situation, make a plan, and carry it out in military contexts. So these contracts focus on 3 main areas. AI agents that work alone, where these systems will help with mission planning and problem solving. The Pentagon basically wants that AI that can look at complex military situations and figure out what to do next, kind of like you do with ChatGPT, but on a military level, okay? Number 2, advanced language models. So you know ChatGPT. Now imagine a military version of that that can process classified intelligence and write briefings. That's what they're building. That's insane. That's insane. And number 3, real-time decision support. So picture a commander in a crisis. Instead of waiting for analysts to crunch numbers, different guys to come in, say whatever, they get instant AI-powered insights about their options. That's nuts, you guys. This is absolutely wild. So here's the part of this that's nobody's talking about, and I'm just kind of reading through this newsletter for you guys. The Pentagon is betting everything on commercial AI companies. So for decades, the military built its own technology, custom systems, controlled environments, and now they're saying basically forget that and buying off-the-shelf AI from Silicon Valley. But here's the problem with that, right? These companies change their models constantly. What happens when OpenAI updates GPT and suddenly the military's decision-making system works differently? What happens when Elon Musk gets mad at the government and threatens to pull xAI support? The military is handing over critical capabilities to private companies with their own agendas. That's wild. So let's follow the money here. Each company is getting up to 200 million over the next 2 years. So it's not just payment, it's investment in a vision where AI makes military decisions. And it's kind of crazy, kind of goes through how OpenAI launched OpenAI for government right before landing this contract, right? Coincidence? I don't think so. Anthropic is building Claude Gov. There's Grok for government. So obviously these things, these companies kind of knew what was coming and were able to do that. But here's the part that's very interesting. So like, what could go wrong with this, right? These companies promise their AI will be safe and responsible. But I mean, let's be real. Have you guys ever seen a perfect AI system? I mean, we're going to talk about that with Lovable here in a minute, but they make mistakes, they hallucinate, they can be manipulated, they can lean certain ways politically. And now we're putting them in charge of military decisions. The Pentagon says they're testing everything rigorously, but they're also using rapid contracting to skip traditional procurement rules, speed over safety. Congress is starting to ask questions. Some senators want more oversight, but the contracts are already signed. It's pretty nuts. So what happens next with all of this? So the Pentagon is moving fast. These prototypes will be tested and deployed within 2 years. Once they prove the concept works, expect much bigger contracts. Much bigger contracts? That's wild. We're witnessing the birth of a new military industrial complex, but instead of weapons manufacturers, it's AI companies. The question isn't whether this will change warfare. It's whether we will still control the systems we're building. Your tax dollars and my tax dollars are funding AI that might make decisions about war and peace. The companies building it answer to shareholders, not voters. And once these systems are deployed, turning them off won't be as simple as canceling a contract. The future of military AI is being written right now with your money by private companies, whether you like it or not. Okay. Oh man, how do I process this? Yeah, everything there at the end is absolutely true. This is definitely something that's terrifying on a level that I don't even know if I'm really qualified to give a whole big opinion on this. But when I saw this, I thought it went really, really well with this energy investment in Pennsylvania, right? If there's one thing the government's known for, it's not moving fast, right? But I really think that, I've been to the Pentagon. I used to work in the Pentagon from time to time. It's encouraging to see that they're taking steps to do this. But I have to agree with this newsletter in ways that, like, this isn't like, what if we're moving too fast? What if we're building something that, I have to say that I totally agree. I've yet to see there's all these different AI app builders like Lovable, like Replit, like all these different ones, the one that we have, right? And none of them are perfect. None of them will actually create something in one prompt that is actually usable. There's still hallucinations. There's still a lot of things when I'll talk to ChatGPT or Claude that, like, it completely misses. So, unless there's way more advanced models that, like, I don't have, access to or can see, then, which I'm sure there probably is. But I have to kind of say, like, I'm a little kind of freaked out by that a little bit. I always remember, like, when President Eisenhower had his farewell address, we learned about that in school, right? He said, beware of the military industrial complex. There's these big companies, the big six. I think there's like Boeing, General Dynamics, Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, and there's two more. Can't remember exactly all of them. But yeah, like, they have contracts that are way bigger than, $200 million and all this different stuff. And now it's AI companies. And that's what's crazy, is these big AI companies are winning these types of contracts, making this kind of money, producing these kind of things. They're producing the bedrock of what's going to be the future in the next 5 to 10 to 20 years. And that's really exciting. But also really terrifying in a lot of ways. So I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. If you have any thoughts, just leave comments below. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify, I'm very interested what you think about these types of investments, especially with the Pentagon one. I'm really interested in that, just because that's pretty wild. That's pretty terrifying if you think about it. So let's go to the next story. Let's talk about this interesting one here. With OpenAI launching an autonomous ChatGPT agent, which is pretty interesting because I think this is a pretty good segue into this. So, okay, OpenAI launches autonomous ChatGPT agent transforming digital task automation. OpenAI has launched a groundbreaking update to ChatGPT called Agent Mode, which enables the AI to autonomously perform complex multi-step digital tasks such as managing calendars, booking appointments, shopping, coding, and creating presentations. This new general-purpose agent integrates capabilities from previous tools like Deep Research and Operator, allowing it to browse, interact with web pages, and access connected applications like Gmail and GitHub, although all through natural language prompts. Available to Pro, Plus, and Team subscribers, Agent Mode exemplifies a shift from simple chatbots to autonomous AI agents capable of boosting productivity and streamlining workflows in both personal and professional settings. The launch arrives amid intense competition in the AI space, as we just mentioned, from tech giants like Meta, Google, Microsoft, Elon Musk's xAI, each investing heavily in autonomous AI technologies. OpenAI emphasizes that security and privacy remain priorities while pushing the boundaries of AI productivity tools. Of course, they have to say that. This development signals a new era where AI agents will not only answer questions, but also drive actions that could transform how work and daily tasks are performed. Interesting stuff. So I wanted to talk about this because this changes a lot of stuff for what we do, right, as small business owners. Because I got to be honest, I do not have the $200 a month version of ChatGPT. I did for a little while, and I just did not. I did not find the value or the need for it, to be honest. But the reason why I had upgraded to it was because I had heard of Operator, right? I had heard of this and seen this tool called Operator that was being kind of thrown around there, and it was only available at that top tier. So I upgraded and I tried it, and this was when it first came out, right? And I had it try to do some tools like scraping leads, looking for vacation deals, like kind of doing the normal types of things, posting social media content, scraping, Facebook, Twitter, those kind of things. And I got to be honest, I found it very, very lacking in terms of the capabilities that it had, which is why I was like, well, that was kind of why I wanted to try it. So I went back to the $20 a month version, right? So I got to be. This is exciting. I think this kind of goes along with, okay, it's talking about managing calendars, booking appointments, interacting with customers, whatever. And that's a small scale for people like you and me. But again, now we're talking about what if that's available at a military level, at a government level, a major enterprise level. That's pretty crazy. But it'll be very interesting to see how this rolls out and how people are able to use this and how this is able to actually move past the hallucination phase and the beta phase, and actually get to a point where you could go in and say, hey, I need 100 people on LinkedIn who fit this exact profile that I could pitch my new startup to see if I can raise funding for. Or I need to post the next 100 days of social media content, post one thing a day, or even scrape Reddit for all these different conversations that are talking about X, Y, and Z, and then post a reply based on me pointing back to my website or service. Or I'm like, there's infinite level of things that you could do with these types of things. And that's what I've always seen as the downfall, and like the limitation of the chatbots is like, you still have to go in and you have to actually prompt something like ChatGPT or Claude to do what you need it to do and to actually get that result. But what if it's able to just do stuff like one thing I've always loved about ChatGPT was the tasks feature. Hey, remind me tomorrow at 8 a.m. Kind of like my device here of the name, that shall not be named, that starts with an A, so it doesn't start talking in the background. It's beautiful. It's awesome. It works. It works like a charm, and it's really, really useful. And it helps me stay on point. Stay basically like, hey, I need to remember these things. So being able to perform those kind of functions digitally is really, really incredible and pretty amazing. I mean, that takes off so much of your plate. And I'm curious what kind of ideas you guys might have as how you might use this kind of thing once it gets going. So I have not tried it yet. I just saw this, like, this was literally a last minute addition to the show. I saw this and I was like, ooh, that's really interesting. Because if it's really moving beyond just chatbots, if it's really moving beyond, becoming something like an actual agent, that's pretty wild. And I'm sure that there are so many ways that you can make extra money, that you can leverage things, that you can automate and outsource and offload things. So I'll be very, very interested to see how that actually all works out. And then that actually brings me to my last story of the day, which has to do with Lovable. I did promise you guys we were going to talk about Lovable a little bit. And this was kind of the interesting part that kind of ties in with all these other things. So Lovable raises $200 million in Series A funding, reaches 1.8 billion valuation in 8 months. So if you guys don't know what Lovable is, it's an AI app builder. You can basically type something, hey, I need this type of app, and it builds it and it codes it directly inside of the tool. Really, really interesting. Stockholm-based AI startup Lovable has become Europe's newest unicorn after raising $200 million in a Series A funding round led by Excel, pushing its valuation to $1.8 billion in just 8 months after launching. Guys, that's nuts. That's absolutely freaking insane. Lovable's platform enables non-technical users to build websites and full-stack applications using natural language prompts, targeting a new category of users who have ideas but lack coding skills. The company has over 2.3 million active users and more than 180,000 paying subscribers, with 75 million in annual recurring revenue in 8 months. Holy shit! That's insane. So what are they going to use this money for? Lovable plans to use the funding to expand its 45-person team and develop its product to support more complex apps and enterprise needs, with clients like Klarna and HubSpot already utilizing the platform. The startup is part of a larger trend in AI-driven code generation tools focusing on accessibility, backed by prominent investors, including 20VC, whatever. Lovable's rapid growth and substantial market traction reflect the increasing investor interest in AI coding assistants and vibe coding technologies aimed at democratizing software creation. Yeah. Think about that, guys. 8 months, 75 million in recurring revenue, annual recurring revenue, 45-person team, 1.8 billion valuation. That's nuts. That I don't even know how to describe that. I mean, that to me is a pure example of finding a market fit and just going for it. I mean, that's wild. Like I've never built a company that big. That is insane. I mean, I would love to hear the more of their background story and how they've gotten everything started. But like I've mentioned before in all these other things, I've tried Lovable myself. We're applying to be a Lovable expert. We've built a couple of applications on there and such. And to be honest, you guys know me. I'm a no code guy, right? So I've been building in Bubble and tools like Glide and Adalo and things like that, Flutterflow. And I've had a lot of conversations with some people who have used tools like Lovable or Replit, or even we have our own one. I showed you guys in the last episode at app.dapperNoCode.com. You can build something just like this, right? It's a tool just like Lovable. And I got to be honest. I mean, even with Lovable specifically, I have really struggled to build the entire application from front to end. I really have. I mean, and I've heard the same thing from many other people that have, and I'm not just picking on Lovable either. This is like our tool, other tools, like all this different stuff. And I think the shortfall of it is that remember, it's artificial intelligence, not just real intelligence, right? So I think the thing is that, we can have the most crazy out there ideas, and they're always going to be ahead of whatever technology is there. That's just the truth, right? Like we could say, like, Elon Musk could be like, we want to colonize Pluto, but there's no technology to actually do that, right? So your ideas they'll always be ahead of whatever's existing in the market or in the technology stack that is currently available. And I think that's part of the thing that frustrates a lot of people, at least that I've found, like with clients that I've worked with, is that there's always going to be shortcomings. Obviously that's no fault to the developers, the team that's building these types of things. It's just keeping up with that is like the possibilities are infinite, right? But what does this show you? This shows you that there's clearly a ton of interest in these types of tools. The democratization. I've always known that the no code revolution was going to be something massive, and this is absolute proof of it. Because the democratization of being able to build and launch your own software is something that I have been so passionate about and been talking about for years at this point. And to see something like this have success and grow and do all this type of stuff is absolutely just, it's another thing I'm like just super excited about. It's something that and this is worldwide, right? It's scary for someone like me who does different things in this realm, but it's also exciting because I just love seeing people be able to build something and launch something without having to spend $100,000 or $300,000 to build something and do something crazy. So I will say, I do think that these tools are they're a little more geared towards more simplistic type of apps rather than if you need HIPAA compliance, if you need SOC 2 compliance, if you need financial integrations or medical integrations. I've yet to see actual good solutions in anywhere, even our tool, like just to be able to do those types of things. But we're working on it. And I think the other teams are working on it too. But I think that's just kind of the nature of the beast. And it's something that hopefully will be resolved in the next 10 to 20 years inside of these tools. And then we're going to be in a whole different ballgame, and we'll have a conversation about that when that time comes. But it's exciting. Good for these guys. I mean, keep up the good work. I really love, I love the tool. It's really, really neat. It's pretty amazing. Like I said, there's always going to be shortcomings, always things you can nitpick, always things you can do, but there's clearly a ton of interest in this. There's a ton of attention being given to it. And it's the next wave of the no code revolution, and I'm here for it, and I'm loving to see it, and it's really, really cool. And if for anyone out there who's looking to build these types of things, or maybe you've built something like that, hit us up at dapperNoCode.com if you're looking for extra help. We definitely consult with people. We'll help with whatever kind of issues you might be having. Not that we can fix them all, but we can definitely consult. We can set up engagements or appointments or things like that if you are stuck with something and need any kind of help, because a lot, that's a big company. They might not, their customer support might not be all there, right? So maybe you hire out to an expert or somebody like us that can do these types of things. It's what we've always been positioning for, like Bubble experts, Adalo experts, now Lovable experts, because that's part of our business model as well. So anyway, just a shameless pitch there to end the show. But I'm just overall today was a very interesting episode in terms of all of these different things that are going on. So before we sign off, I did want to do a little new segment that I've thought of to do today, and that is my tool, a tool highlight that I wanted to show you guys. So for any of you who are developers, any of you who are maybe using tools like Lovable, this is a really, really cool tool that I actually found on LinkedIn, and I've been trying, and it's called UX Pilot, uxpilot.ai. Okay. I don't have an affiliate link. I don't have anything like that for it. It's just really amazing. This is a really cool tool that I have found. It's actually been one of the best ones I have found to date that will actually build, very, very good looking UX and UI MVPs. It's not building your actual app, but it's a lot like Lovable and Replit, where you can just prompt in your thing and build a mobile or a desktop UX and UI version. And I mean, look at the cleanliness and the advanced nature of what these are building. So if you want to go build something in Lovable or with our tool, or in something like Bubble or Adalo, this is a great start. We've been using the hell out of this to kind of revamp some of our existing client apps, and even with new client apps to get people that come in with a lot of our clients come in without even having designs. They just have an idea. So this is a really, really cool tool. So again, it's uxpilot.ai. You guys can check it out. I think there's a free tier. You can there's also, like anything else, has subscriptions and stuff, but I just wanted to highlight for you, highlight these guys for you. I haven't even talked to them. I've just literally been using their tool. But it's a pretty amazing tool from what I've found personally using it. And we're going to keep using it and probably get we haven't upgraded yet, but I'm probably going to very soon. So I just wanted to highlight that tool for you guys and check it out if that so interests you. So lots of exciting stuff, very cool way to end the show on a Friday. With just so much, exciting news and investments happening inside of the world of technology and no code and AI. And I'm very interested to hear you guys' thoughts and opinions about it. If you haven't already, check out all of these tools and all these stories. Look into them yourself. Obviously, I'm just here to commentate on them, give you my thoughts and opinions on things, which could be wrong. They're not usually wrong, but they're wrong. I'm just kidding. All right, guys, that is going to be all for that. As always, please subscribe and like the show. Share this episode with anybody you might think would find value from it. And I will see you guys in the next show. We're going to be live Tuesday as well. Same place, same time. All right, guys, talk later. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Tech Bites, your go-to show for software business and technology. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated with our latest episodes, insights, and stories. Hungry for more? Dive deeper into the world of no-code by visiting dapnacode.com. Your journey to building amazing software without coding skills starts there. Connect with like-minded creators and unlock a world of resources tailored just for you.